You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. All right, the MLB Draft starts on Sunday. You know, Jay Johnson will be locked into that. Future of the program will be shaped coming up on Sunday and Monday. Joe Doyle will be locked in as well. Of course, Future Star Series, host of Overslot. Check him out on Twitter, Overslot_. He's on Twitter at Joe Doyle, MILB. Joe, we always appreciate it, man. Thank you for the time. How are you?
Matt, it's good to be back. What was I on this show, like 3 or 4 weeks ago? It's good to be back twice in 1 month.
No, we're glad to have you, man. Hey, like I think it seems like a foregone conclusion now that Kade Anderson's going to go number 1 overall. Do you like it? Nationals, Kade, number 1 overall?
I do. Yeah, especially with the firing of Mike Rizzo. I think if you're the scouting director there, if you're in charge of making sure that you make an impact right away, you probably want the college pitcher that is going to move quickly, that is polished, that is pitched in big moments, that is going to help contribute to a winning culture sooner rather than later in the Washington Nationals organization. And then, you couple that with the fact that the Nationals need pitching. I mean, their farm system needs pitching, and they need high minors pitching. So I think Anderson's going to be a phenomenal fit in Washington. And I think if you look at what they've done with Mackenzie Gore, Kade Anderson is not too terribly different.
Yeah. Do you project him as a front of the rotation guy?
It depends on what you define as front of the rotation. I have him as a number 2 starter,
okay.
Maybe on the lower end of a number 2 starter. I think he's similar to some of the things that John Lester did during the prime of his career. I don't know if anybody would have ever called John Lester at any point an ace, just a bulldog. Now, he was a phenomenal arm, don't get me wrong, and absolutely key to some World Series winning title teams. But at the end of the day, I think Kade Anderson probably slots in as a number 2 when he's fully developed.
What do you think about the decision Chase Shores is going to have to make, Joe? A guy that when his stuff is right, it looks as good as anything you'll see at the college level or anywhere, but maybe projecting early as a reliever because he hasn't shown the ability to be a consistent starter. It's interesting, man. You come back, you start, maybe you're a top half of round 1 guy, or do you maybe take a couple $1 million now and begin that pro career?
Yeah, man, I've said this for a handful of weeks now. LSU's trying to keep Chase Shores. They're trying to keep him around. They're trying to give him overtures of being a weekend guy. Chase doesn't have a very long and decorated baseball card at this point. He hasn't pitched too much in the SEC or in college baseball for that matter at all. So I think he does have a tough decision because it's the body, it's the stuff, it's the arm talent that should get you picked in the top 25, top 30 picks in any given draft. But given his circumstances and what he's gone through, I think he's probably going to have to choose between taking 1.1, 1.2, maybe up to $1.5 million, or going back to Baton Rouge and trying to double that.
Do you think if he comes back, has a successful season as a starter, he's a guy that could be a top half of round 1 guy?
Without question. I mean, Chase Shores can come back and show that he can live 96 to 99 with a bowling ball sinker and an 87 to 90 mile an hour slider. It doesn't even matter if he's 22 at that point. Scouts will look at that and go, even if we think this kid is fully developed and he's not projectable, it's already up to 101 miles an hour with a wipeout slider. If he shows that he can come in and pitch long innings and throw strikes, I have no doubt, no question at all that he can still go in the top 20, top 25 picks in 2026.
Joe Doyle is with us at Joe Doyle, MILB, if you want to give him a follow. Maybe the equivalent on the position player side would be Ethan Fry. So I'll just put it on the tee for you. What can you tell us about how you project Fry this weekend?
Yeah, I've talked to actually a few people over the course of the last handful of days. I think Ethan Fry is a guy that is kind of starting to rise a little bit. As of a few weeks ago, it was, 5th or 6th round because he hadn't really played defense. Guys have seen him in a corner outfield. Guys have seen him at first base on a very abbreviated basis, but they really haven't seen it over the course of actual game settings in season. I'm starting to hear a little bit more of late 3rd, 4th round for Ethan Fry. So I think there's a chance that he could go pro. And I have heard that he's interested in going pro. But on the other side of the coin, I've also heard, like the Chase Shores thing, LSU is working overtime to get Ethan Fry to return back to school. So he is one of the more important pieces that LSU could lose in this draft. And at this point, 3 weeks ago, I would have said, I think there's probably a 75-80% chance that he's going to be back in the purple and gold. Now I think it's more of a coin toss with Ethan Fry. So it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'd be hard for him to walk away from the money in the third round that teams can offer.
Yeah, can confirm they're working really hard trying to keep Ethan Fry in Baton Rouge. Joe, is there anybody else among the current players that, for whatever reason, you're looking at that strikes your fancy?
In terms of guys that could return?
Either. Just where you might project him in the draft, or just someone that you think will be an interesting prospect to see where they fall?
Yeah, I mean, I think the guy that really kind of catches my eye is Jacob Meyers. I mean, we've seen Jacob Meyers unbelievable at times. Like when he's in the zone, nobody hits him. Nobody can get base hits off of him. But when he's not throwing strikes, I mean, the walks come in bunches. So it's unbelievable arm talent. It's unbelievable fastball metrics. And it's probably, I think everybody would agree at this point that Jacob Meyers is probably at best like an eighth inning type of leverageable reliever. I'm just not sure, like, is he a sixth rounder because someone really believes they can straighten him out? Or is he a, 12th to 15th rounder? It's just, he's a really difficult evaluation. The ceiling is obviously pretty exciting, and the floor is a guy that just kind of gets stuck in Double A. So he's one that I'm going to be watching on Sunday and Monday.
Yeah, it's I mean, he'll sign, right? I mean, there's no chance of him coming back. He's got all his leverage. He's signed. It's just a matter of where he's going to go in those top 10 rounds.
I would think so. It's just when you put together the year that Meyers did at LSU, kind of struggled to find a role. I would think LSU would look at that and go, we're going to have some other guys in the transfer portal that can probably assume that role, and they probably won't want to push too much NIL money or resources toward that one.
Let's talk about the high school guys. There are some that are pretty obvious, right? Like Quentin Young and Brady Ebel, Jaden Fauske. Like those guys they'll never show up on campus. Is there maybe a guy or two that you're keeping a close eye on based on their situation who you think, I thought that guy might sign, but now it looks like he might actually end up on campus?
Yeah, I've said this for a little while. I don't know if it's going to be the case. It wouldn't surprise me if Brady Ebel ended up on campus. I know that he really wants to go pro, and he said as much in Phoenix. But also, he's a guy that if he goes to LSU, and I said this on another show, I think he could turn into Jacob Berry. Like, I think he could turn into a guy that ends up going in the top 10 or top 15 picks in a few years, just because, he's one of the best hitters in the SEC for quite a while. It's kind of hard to find suitors for Ebel right now in the top 50 picks. So depending on how motivated he is to go pro, and I have heard, like I said, that he is motivated to go pro, he would be one that, there's always a guy, there's always a William Schmidt, right? There's always a guy that ends up getting to campus that you never expect to actually go to school. And Brady Ebel would be on that like short list of 4 or 5 guys that could surprise some people this year. The guy that I'm looking at in this draft that I think is also a coin toss would be Dean Moss. Dean Moss is a guy that fits somewhere in the second round, maybe third round range. He has some traits that are similar to Derek Curiel. He can really, really hit. There's not a lot of power right now, but he can play all 3 outfield positions. It's just another guy where it's like, okay, you got to find one team that has him at the top of the priority list. And it's not to say that he's not a priority, but at some point, the money just runs out in the draft. And I think Dean Moss could be one of those guys that is left in Baton Rouge looking to improve his draft stock in a couple of years.
There's a few more I want to ask about. One that does seem pretty interesting is help me with the last name. It's Miguel Sime or Sime. I'm not sure how to pronounce it. He's the big righty who I was told is touching 100 right now, but might actually have a decision to make because he maybe projects more as a reliever, and that might not be what you're looking for at the top of a draft. So what can you tell us there?
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit the nail on the head. Miguel Sime Jr. is a guy that is already touching 101 miles an hour with bat missing life at the top of the zone. He would come in right away and start closing ball games at a minimum for LSU if the strikes are there. The breaking ball has taken a big step, and he's beginning to throw a changeup, but When you're a guy that's throwing 101 miles an hour, I don't know how polished the secondaries really need to be. You just have to have a breaking ball. So it is reliever risk. From what I understand, there are some teams that are lining up to make offers to Miguel Sime in the draft. But right now I have him in that fourth-ish round range, $1.1 million valuation. And again, I think he goes pro, but it's not a foregone conclusion.
Any of the guys that are the portal ads from LSU that could be draft choice? I know right now we're keeping it on. Maybe one worth talking about is Cooper Moore from Kansas. He's not committed to LSU, but he visited this week, and my information is they feel pretty good about it, but they're probably going to have to sweat out the draft. What can you tell us about where Moore might be slotted right now?
I think Moore is going to end up on campus. I think they're correct in that. The one that interests me most, Matt, is Braden Simpson out of High Point. 6'1", 190 pounds, and just an absolute tool shed. I mean, just unbelievable tools everywhere on the field. It is a very loud, noisy, I don't want to say obnoxious swing, but there's a lot of moving parts and, home run derby, softball type swing, but he makes a ton of contact. I'm not trying to make him out to be a guy that can't hit. He can really hit. I wonder if a team is going to be willing to throw $400,000 at Braden Simpson, having done all of his production at High Point. It might just be a guy that should end up at LSU and maybe turns himself into a fourth or a fifth rounder in 2026. Really, really exciting player to watch. Easy player to root for. He's got flair. He's got personality. And I would imagine that he's going to be an integral part of the LSU lineup in 2026. So he would be the name. He would be the biggest name that I would be watching from the portal guys.
22 bombs last year. It sounds like you're describing Daniel Dickinson a little bit. A similar comp. I mean, not with the power, obviously, but like a similar comp, just smaller school. Maybe teams just hesitating a little bit to throw a lot of money at a smaller school guy, go prove it at the SEC level.
Yeah, I would say that's fair. Braden Simpson is a lot more explosive than Daniel Dickinson, but
Sure.
Like in terms of the track of going from one place to another and how they got here, yeah, I can definitely see the similarities. And like Dickinson, I think Simpson has a chance to play second base and third base, and I would even throw him out in left field if you wanted to get that bat in the lineup and you had enough infielders to make the roster work.
My guy called him a tool shed. I love that so much. I want to use that and not give you credit. Actually, I'll always give you credit. Joe Doyle, you'll get him on Twitter at Joe Doyle, MILB. Great time to follow with the draft coming up this weekend. Of course, over there at Future Star Series and the host of Overslot. Make sure you get it on podcast. Joe, we appreciate it, man, as always. Thank you for the time.
Always a pleasure.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.